Welcome into Jets Nation Radio. I'm Angus Hout. As always, we are brought to you by Betway. So be sure to check out Betway to check out the latest Jets game day odds and bet on the NHL. Go check out jetsnation.ca as well. We've got articles going up daily right now. Make sure to follow Jets Nation on all sorts of social media. If you see us on social media, there's a good chance it's us and nobody's faking it. It's just my deranged rants about the Winnipeg Jets online. So welcome into Ray and Sam. How's it going there, boys?
A little worse than the start of the day.
Yeah, that was a rough game.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, okay. So yeah, it's Sunday afternoon. Jets lost to the Islanders 4-0. I had the unfortunate. I mean, I was given tickets to this game for free, so I'm not going to complain about that. But man, it's rough watching those Jets play when they can get one shot in the first 35 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, not quite. I think it was first 25. They got one shot,
but the shot was not even from inside.
It was from center.
It was. And I wasn't helping the situation in the section because I just run in my mouth, and it wasn't even at Ritter. It was at Rittich. It was at everyone else. Just. It's not good enough. This team looks like they are frightened and scared, that they are afraid to do anything at this point.
It doesn't make any sense. It's a completely different team from what we saw at the start of the year.
Yeah. It's just completely different. I think what's annoying is you see this team and how much success they've had in the beginning of the season and up to now. And now you start to see them struggle and falter a little bit. And you just kind of it lowers your confidence in the team a lot and kind of what they're actually able to do. Because if they're starting to struggle right when the games matter, what's going to happen with the playoffs?
If we get there.
Exactly. I mean, we're only 5 points from being out of the playoffs.
But we're also only 3 points from being on top of the division, so...
But Dallas has a game in hand. Colorado is 3 games in hand. It's not looking good at all.
Man,
the only bright side, we might not have to play Colorado in the first round. We do get it.
Okay, yeah,
cross over and play Vegas.
Honestly, at this point, I would take Vegas or Dallas in the first round over Colorado if that's the case.
Especially after the last game.
My goodness.
Gotta get in though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you still have to get in. Well, at least the Flames suck right now, and nobody can beat the Columbus Blue Jackets, so there's still a good chance for the Jets here.
We're only 9 points up on the Preds.
The Preds are gonna make it over us now.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine the Preds selling everything off and then just scooting on in?
Hear me out. So we're not gonna get the lowest spot. We're not gonna end last in the league, but is it too late to tank, sell, and try to...
You just bought for Niederreiter, or not Niederreiter.
Yeah, for a second round pick. You could get more than that flipping him.
You think so?
Probably.
He's 30
that was so cheap. I know it's not actually going to happen. They need to go all in, but it would be like a power rebuild in the next 2 years if they just sold everything. Because guys coming up next year, Wheeler, you're not going to get a ton for. Scheifele, you could get a ton for at next year's deadline. Connor Hellebuck, a team that looks good and doesn't have a great goalie, you could get a bunch for him come next year. I hope the Jets don't do this. But I'm just saying that Brendan Dillon DeMello, both UFAs next year. Now you have Nino Niederreiter. You have Pierre-Luc Dubois as a UFA next summer. You could tender him for one more year and then just sell him at the deadline or try to sell him this year. I'm just saying the Jets have so much pieces they could potentially go into a power rebuild.
Yeah, I think that with the pieces that they have, I feel like based on how well they do at the end of this season is going to be very important, but also kind of the direction they want to go into next season, because with all these UFAs, I think you either have to go all in or sell. There's no just kind of being middle of the pack next year, because if you're just middle of the pack next year, you're just basically wasting away these UFAs without adding to the group. So you either have to go in or you have to be out.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Connor Hellebuck. You should be all in. You should be pushing all the chips in. And if it means you got 3 years of rough redrafting and trying to put stuff into the cupboard, at least you can go to bed at night and say, hey, I at least went for it rather than, being, the pussyfooting here and just being middle of the ground or middle of the pack, like you said there, Ray. So,
but I mean, it's cup or bust the next 2 years if you're going all in.
Yeah, 100%.
Because your franchise is going to be in the dirt.
Yeah.
You're losing like all of your players.
Yeah. So it's like,
other than Ehlers and Connor.
Yeah. I was going to say you got KC and Ehlers. So cool. And like, you got a couple young guys coming up with McGroarty and others, assuming you don't trade them in the next 2 years when you do your big push. But, you can, why not have like this blue collar team in the next 5 years? That's just like, no one believes in us. We're in the grittiest city in all of North America, or at least within the NHL. Like,
well, you don't sell any tickets.
You don't think you could get a group of blue collar guys in here that have just enough skill to put them into the playoffs? Like,
why would you want to be stuck in that limbo?
Yeah.
Where you're just making the playoffs, never good enough to win a round. But
yeah, well, I mean, that's where the Jets have been at effectively since ever.
And it's not working. Fans are tired.
Yeah, and I mean, you could hear the frustration at Canada Life Center today. I mean, the shoot the puck. Like, I was like, I joined into it because it's like there's 7 minutes left in the second period here, and the Jets have 6 shots, and they're just waiting for these perfect passes. And it's like, can we not hold on for 5 minutes?
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd.
And like Nikolai Ehlers, he had 4 shots. I think when the Jets had Nikolai Ehlers had 40% of the shots when the Jets had 10 shots. Like,
and he's still not on the fucking power play.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so mad at that. The fact that Wheeler's on the power play instead of Ehlers is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It just makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. And what was with Ehlers playing 13 minutes against Colorado the other night?
I don't know. He seems like the scapegoat for a second coaching staff in a row.
Third coaching staff in a row. And yeah, why is
Nick he wasn't really around until Maurice?
No, well, I was talking Lowry, but whatever.
Oh, that doesn't count. That was just Maurice with a different face.
I'm just mad about how this whole thing shook out. Like, yeah, it's Nikolai Ehlers. Why do coaches hate him? Like, is it just because he's Finnish? Like, does he just have a weird attitude about things?
No, first of all, he's Danish.
My bad. Sorry. Is he European?
I mean, he seems to have a good uplift. Maybe he's not getting upset enough about misuse and lack of time and always being the one getting benched. And maybe there's other stuff that we don't see, but it's just shocking that you have a guy on a good contract who loves the city. He's willing to talk to the media. And you're constantly just, oh, look at these shiny things we have over here.
We all want the shiny thing of Nikolai Ehlers on our first power play, maybe even playing proper top 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And the fourth line should not be this, like, you're being punished line like that. I hate that so much out of Rick Bowness right now. He did it with a couple guys. I think Scheifele ended up on the fourth line for a bit the other night.
The Jets need to make a handful of moves in the next week. It's like Nino Niederreiter, I'm happy about. That's great, but obviously something is up, and it's just like the attitudes, they look horrible. It's a completely different hockey team than we saw in the start of the year. I'd much rather have a slow start and then all of a sudden you're the St. Louis Blues in 19, where you're coming in hot and you're the hottest team in the league going into the playoffs, not limping into the trade deadline. The Jets have the least 5-on-5 goals in the NHL in February. And that's a stat I don't need to look up after the game because they got fucking shut out.
One goal in the game before. Thank God there was 4 goals in the game against New York. But before that, what was another 1-goal game?
We got an uncharacteristically bad Shesterkin. And other than that.
Yeah, just unbelievable how few goals this team can score. And some of it's not for a lack of trying. Like, the second half of this game against New York, the Islanders, was actually pretty good. You were almost impressed with this team. If we could have seen a full 60 minutes, well, we might be talking about a victory here. So I don't get it with this team. They do need to just give a full 60 minutes. I think that's the big thing is there's a weird fear and a lack of wanting to play for 60 minutes. Even defensively, it's just broken down to nothing.
Yeah,
I do think at least we can stop complaining about Bones not being at the top of the the coach of the year conversation, because something's happened and that's the coach's job to figure that out, and it's nothing's working.
Ray, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, I think the main problem that has just like come out is that the team has lost the ability to finish on the chances. Like, they're always trying to find that perfect opportunity, and I feel like Bonus isn't really communicating with the guys enough to be like, you don't need to go for like the perfect play. Like, I feel like I haven't seen a greasy goal from the Jets in a very long time. So I feel like they're just not getting to the dirty areas and just kind of making stuff work. Like, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to find offense in any way you can.
Absolutely.
I mostly agree with you there, Ray, but like, I think since almost November, Bonus has been saying, we just got to find a greasy goal. We got to find a greasy goal. So it feels like they just don't want to look for the greasy goals.
Well, 100%. And I think that's why getting a guy like JVR would be a really good depth pickup going into the deadline, because he lives in front of the net and he's going to get you those tips. He's going to get you those greasy goals. And the Jets that's like, they need that. It'll spark the team having a couple of greasy goals instead of greasy goals against. I think will really spark the team, and that's kind of how you turn things around. Because right now, going for the perfect opportunity obviously is not the play, and hopefully Niederreiter helps with that too. He's just watching some of his highlights. Lots of his goals come like almost standing in the crease. So
good. We need somebody out there because the Jets are lacking anyone that wants to stand in front of the net for an extended period of time. Yeah. So thinking of the Niederreiter trade, what is your guys' letter grade on that?
I think I'd give it like a B+. Like, I feel like you can't really like grade it like right away. Like, I feel like premature grading is kind of like really hard because you don't know exactly how they're going to fit, exactly where they're going to play in the lineup. I feel like it really depends on if he gets that top 6 time. I feel like he could be really effective. But if he's subject to the third line with Lowry, I feel like his effectiveness might not be as much as we would want. But I feel like if he has a good opportunity to be a net front presence on the second power play, I feel like there's only improvement to be had with how much you use him.
Yeah, I agree. I'd probably go with like an A, maybe an A-, just on that kind of teetering edge. I think for the price, like just a second round pick next year, Chevy sucks in the second round anyways, so might as well. And I love that he has another year, only $4 million, which is super affordable for a bubble top 6 guy. Like, he's for sure could be playing on the second line. And again, like 100% when he gets here will be, because Perfetti's out. We'll see what other moves are made. But I think he even if you get another center, like if you make a couple more trades and have him on the third line with an actual third line center, and I love Lowry, but he's been bad. Like, he needs to be bumped down to the fourth line if this team's going to make a run for the cup.
If Adam Lowry is your fourth line center going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, I think you are a contending team, especially if he's just playing a defensive role.
But he hasn't scored in 33 hockey games. He cannot be a third line center.
No, not at this point. You've pissed a lot of it away.
A fourth line of Lowry, Stenlund, and Appleton. Gagne's not going to be on the main roster if this team's making a run. Let's be honest.
Let me believe
he'll be on the roster. He's not in the lineup.
He'll be a black ace.
I mean,
he's probably your 13th man, actually.
Going through it. You have Connor, Dubois, Ehlers. I like that line. I don't think everyone does, but then if you have Scheifele, Niederreiter, and potentially another winger that you pick up at the trade deadline, So I don't know. It's hard now with Perfetti out because I would say Scheifele, Niederreiter, and Perfetti. But who knows? All bets are off kind of. And it really depends on how many actual moves Chevy's going to make at this deadline. But I think guys like Appleton should never be near the top 6. Lowry shouldn't either. Like I do like Barron's game. I think he's quick. I think he plays hard, but I mean, he would be the one guy of those 3, I would say, hopefully will stay on that third line.
Would Barron be a guy that you'd be willing to risk in a trade?
It depends on who's coming back.
Yeah, I guess so. But
if you're getting a solid top 6 player, I think Barron's more replaceable than what you're going to get.
Yeah, and he's also probably more valuable too. So
that
as well.
Is he a UFA this season or next season?
I think he's an RFA this season.
RFA, my bad. Yes.
It's hard to want them. Like, if you asked me a week ago, I'd be like, yeah, sell the farm. Like, let's get this. Let's get a run going. Now I'm like, you have to go all in. But do you really want to give away that much capital on a team that has scored like, what is it, 9 goals in their last 9 games?
I think it's all of February.
9-5 on 5 in all of February.
Yeah.
But still, like, I think it's only like 9 goals in the last 9 games altogether, even with the 4-goal game. Like, it's bad. And some, obviously, like, you get Hellebuck starting to roll in playoffs, and you find some combinations if you get guys in via trade. But you look at how stacked the East is. I mean, this is the year to potentially make a run, because the West is just not as strong. And I don't think Colorado is obviously so good. Vegas, we'll see probably, but how good are their goalies going to be in the playoffs? I just think like this is the time to potentially make that run. And once you get to the finals, like anything, like, yeah, the East is stacked, but they've just beat up on each other for 3 rounds. Anything can happen. You get Connor Hellebuck standing on his head a couple times.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's a goaltender that's going to win you a Stanley Cup at the end of the day. Also, 16 goals for the Winnipeg Jets throughout the month of February, 1 game to go.
That's depressing.
Yeah. And we also missed the first 10 days of the month. So, just sit in your own filth with that one.
That's flooring how bad that is.
The good news is we get to play the Edmonton Oilers come at the end of the week, and we could have a good team by that point. And maybe we can make Jack Campbell cry a little bit. Make Edmonton feel bad about themselves for something. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to Edmonton for the 18th as Jets Nation to go celebrate the Oilers Nation and their 15th anniversary. So that'll be a fun trip. Also, be sure to check out Betway to check out the latest Jets game day odds and bet on the NHL. So is there any like Vegas and Dallas have made their trades? Dadonov? No, not Dad. Yes, Dadonov.
Yep, Dadonov to Vegas or to Dallas rather.
Yeah, and
Barbashev to Vegas.
Yes, and Barbashev to Vegas. So like how much more worried about the West are you now? Because these teams have started to take the steps in the right direction, even though Winnipeg made a very similar trade.
I mean, I like Winnipeg's trade more than either of those.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for what was it for Dadonov? Vegas gave up last year's first round or 2021, their first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I think the return for, the other one was a player for Dadonov.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I do like the Jets move a lot more, but those other teams, well, Dallas is slumping a bit, but I don't know. I do think the West is wide open. It's not a very strong conference this year.
No.
And the East, and we saw today, Timo Meier went to the East. Thank God. If he had gone to Vegas, they're winning the conference.
Right. We would have just died.
Especially if they get Mark Stone back for playoffs. Like, that's wild. But
scary.
He went to the East. Everyone over there is stacking up, but the West is kind of like small swings so far.
Yeah. So our good friends at Daily Faceoff and their Instagram. So Evgeny Dadonov goes to Montreal for Dennis
Gurianov.
Yeah.
He was unreal for Dallas in their cup final run.
But that was about it. He had that playoff magic, and that was that. And then, Zach Dean, the first round pick from 2021, going to Vegas for Ivan Barbashev. So thanks, Daily
I don't hate
Faceoff.
the Barbashev move. He's a good player. I think Niederreiter really helps where the Jets are struggling. Like, he's a perennial 20 goal scorer, and the Jets, I mean, right now need the goals.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Simple as that.
Desperately need the goals. Goals will come. The snake bitten drought will end.
Yeah, we're just saving them. Saving them down the stretch.
We're taking a month off, so that way, you know what? Heck, even if we take 2 months off and then we just use all of that goodwill for the 2 months of playoffs, we're good.
We take 2 months off. We're hoping for Connor Bedard,
buddy. No. If you
5 points out of playoffs,
no, it's just another 2 weeks of bad performance, and then you've got 2 months of bad hockey. You collectively use that up during the playoffs. Extra goals. That's hockey gods are playing for us right now. I promise you.
We're gonna go into playoffs hot. We're gonna
kick everyone's
before
ass
the trade deadline, and then just have all these players play out of their minds.
Yeah.
Gonna turn it around after sucking for an entire month.
Buddy, we're gonna be partying on Portage in Maine like it's nobody's business. It's gonna happen. Okay, also I gotta talk about this super messed up thing that happened at the game today. So it's a whole story, but one of the guys, he was wearing an Ottawa jersey, and then he ripped it off for wearing a Jets shirt underneath, and then flashed everyone, had a big beer gut on him. Fantastic. Nobody really cares. We all cheered for the guy. The next break they have for the game, this little girl ends up on camera and flashes the crowd. Thank goodness the camera guy was like on top of it and like saw it coming, because it was like, oh.
So the little girl saw the big fat guy do it.
Yeah, and she was like, let's party.
Jeez.
Good old Canada Life Center, man. I love this place so much.
Getting rowdy on a Sunday afternoon.
Absolutely. Get after it. So obviously you're like, we're still worried about the Jets. What are the 2 pieces that the Jets do need to add at this point?
Probably a third line center.
Third line center. Yeah. I know we've kind of half talked about
3 pieces in mind.
Oh, okay,
third line center, top end winger. Even if they're like, just to push Wheeler down to the third line to play with that center. Like a right-handed winger. I'll be very specific because the Jets just don't have enough. And someone to replace Neil Pionk.
Andrew Peak, man. Andrew Peak is the guy.
Anyone to replace Neil Pionk.
Yeah, straight up. If you can get Andrew Peak from Columbus, I promise you that's going to be the combination we need to set this whole thing in motion.
Good to know.
Yeah, shot defender.
Keep an eye out for
He's
it.
A thick boy. He likes to thrash around. Good defensive defenseman. I think him and Brennan Dillon would just be pure magic.
I don't think there's any chance this happens. What would you give up for a Schmaltz Chychrun trade?
Probably multiple firsts.
Yeah, just like the farm, give them everything.
Why don't just throw in like Bukestad too? Just like get like everything one-stop shop from Arizona at that point.
As well.
I mean, let's do it.
I would do 2 first, Logan Stanley and Billy. Maybe even
that's 4 first-round picks.
Yeah. Well, like, what are we really doing with Logan Stanley here?
And Billy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both of those guys could, but yeah, I mean, both of them could benefit from a change of scenery.
Yeah, it's just Arizona. They're not actually going to get good.
Can we throw Pionk in there just cap reasons?
Yeah, I feel like they would also probably want Brad Lambert in there, to be honest, because of how well he's playing with.
I'll trade 5 picks for a shot at the Stanley Cup for Bukestad, Chychrun, and
again, all hypothetical because there's no way this happens. I think Chevy should be going hard for Schmaltz because it's a guy with a bit of term, so he can't force his way out.
So the only thing that see with that is like his actual cap dollars, like money that the big bosses are going to have to pay, goes up significantly. And by the end of it, you're going to have to pay him at 30 years old $8.5 million in real cap dollars. So even with that modified no trade clause, if the Jets are kind of in limbo at that point, it's going to suck to try to move him because it's only a 10-team trade list.
Well, the player can also waive that if they really want out of Winnipeg. But the cap hit isn't as bad. It's just the actual money. And that's why I think Arizona will probably want to get rid of him for a somewhat discounted price, is because they're broke.
So do you think
they don't want to pay him?
Would they take the cap hit itself and then allow Mark Shipman to pay the actual dollars?
Well, the cap hit isn't that much of an issue.
No, but like Arizona needs cap.
That's why we give them Neil Pionk.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say here, Sam. Just hold on. You're getting all jumpy on me because like so there's a difference between actual dollars and cap space. So would Arizona eat up some of the cap space so they can hit the cap floor without actually having to spend that money?
Maybe.
And Mark Chipman and all his buddies can pay it off.
How long can you retain cap for?
I think up until the contract's over.
Yeah.
Really? That's wild.
That's why Erik Karlsson's so expensive, because when you're retaining on him, you're retaining on for like multiple years. And if any team's acquiring him, like you got to fit him, so you're paying extra for that retention too.
So much to learn about the NHL. It's frustrating, but man, if you had all three of those pieces of Bjugstad, Chychrun, and Schmaltz, I'd give up 5 young pieces, even like 2 first rounders, a second rounder, and Villy and Logan.
It fits every need that we just said too. That winger, we got the third line center, and you get a top 4 defenseman, and you move Neil Pionk all out
and you get a center that'll be around once Dubois gone. And
like the only money that you might have to move out Neil Pionk just to make those dollars work, but that would be a legitimate trade. I would go all in on, and Arizona might be into it too.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No,
but
I feel like the only problem with that is they probably don't want to package all of the players together, because they probably feel like they might get a better price if they split up the deals into separate deals. So,
although I could see 2 of the players going together, because I mean, that's happened 3 times now this deadline. The Ryan O'Reilly, Tarasenko, and one other one.
Barbashev.
No, Barbashev was by himself.
Wait,
like
you're talking in like a 2 for what? Wait,
2 pieces moving out
at the same time. I got you now.
Yeah, it's been happening a lot. I'm drawing a blank on the other one.
That's fair. It happens. This is so exciting. I can't wait for it all to shake out. And I don't know. I personally just want a right winger at this point and a third line centerman. I think you're fine moving Niederreiter and Wheeler between the second and third line together.
Oh boy. Avalanche just traded for Jack Johnson.
Oh, of
from Chicago for Andreas Englund. Sorry?
I'm sure he's on the team last year.
Yeah, he was.
Got him back.
Yeah, man. Was he the guy that damaged the cup, or was that was someone else?
That was I think Kubel.
Oh yeah. Wild. Well, that's pretty much all I've got. So unless there's something else you guys want to talk about, we can tee up the next week.
No, I mean, I don't think any info about the Meyer trade has been released yet.
Taking forever on that. It's almost been like 2 hours.
Yeah, if not longer. I was still at the rink when that dropped. And I mean, ultimately, it's probably going to cost them 4 pieces. That's what Frank Saravalli was saying, was you got to be giving up about 4.
The other one was Orlov and Hathaway going to Boston.
Right. Yeah.
How much of a train is that team?
Boston's such a wagon. I love future considerations trades.
Zaitsev
The Chicago Ottawa one, Zaitsev, a 2nd round pick and a 4th round pick for future considerations.
I can't believe future considerations went for Zorloff. But at the same time, aren't they in like cap trouble right now? So like it made tons of sense just to like give them away for nothing.
Ottawa is?
Yeah. Are they not? I thought no. There's no way they are.
No,
I think they just want the money off because it's a multi-year deal, so they probably want the money off the books next year to be better next year too. So
yeah.
Oh, and probably just because there's a lack of a true owner there or owner that cares, so they're probably trying to dump as much money as they can to.
I think Dorian's kids still care.
That's not Dorian's kids. Those are Melnick's kids.
Oh, Melnick's kids. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. From what I've understood is they care enough about the team, but they just don't know how to run it. And I think that's where they're kind of at, was just like, I don't want to do this in case I totally screw it up. So
they'd rather have hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean, I don't blame them. I would too, especially if you're trying to play out of Canada.
Yeah, they're moving the rink though.
Are they?
Well, that's part of the deal. Reynolds is teamed up with a real estate company from Toronto who also was trying to buy Arizona back in the day. But yeah, so if they get that deal done, which I think Bettman really wants Reynolds to be the owner, so it sounds like that'll probably happen. They're going to build a new rink in a better neighborhood, I think.
Yeah, I think it's downtown too, so they'll get some more people. Like Canada's just, I went to an Ottawa game, like an Ottawa Winnipeg game back in the day, and it was hell getting there.
Isn't it like half an hour out of town?
Yeah, it was, and it was just like the highways right there, and it's like it's just not like, it's just out of like in the middle of nowhere. So
yeah, it's like if you're just at play in Steinbach, that's where the Jets were at. And like, why are we in Steinbach here, friends? No one wants to be here. Yeah. So tee up the next week. Let's go. Jets got 3 games. We got the Oilers twice, and why isn't this loading? And LA
and
the Kings. Are you still looking to get rid of those tickets, Sam?
No, but I still have Arizona tickets at the end of March.
All right, we'll talk 21st about that later on. So LA Oilers, how are we feeling? Trade deadline as well. We also get Niederreiter into a game against LA, so that's a good place to start. And the boys are actually practicing.
They're still figuring out visa stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it shouldn't take more than 2 days to give them a stamp of approval. Hopefully
not. So yeah, LA is going to be a tough. I mean, all 3 of those are going to be tough games.
All games too.
I want to say they go 2-1 on this.
3-0, turning the season around. Well, hopefully by the time we're playing the home and home against Edmonton, we have some new players. Even if it's on the Saturday, getting in. Joining the team for the second half, maybe a little fresher because they didn't just play the night before. So I'm going to say we'll probably split with Edmonton, both teams winning at home.
Oh, see, I was going to say both teams win away because that's just how it always goes.
And then, we'll beat LA. I mean, we can't lose 4 in a row. Niederreiter's going to get 2, and all's going to be fine. It's fine.
Connor Hellebuck's going to have a wild game against LA, and it's going to be
Hellebuck plays unreal against LA because he got pulled in his last game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is he's going to be a madman. He's going to have like a 980 save percentage minimum, and he's going to be pissed off. And then the Oilers come to town, and the Jets love to beat up on the Oilers because fuck them oily boys. And it's going to be a good week.
If we do trade Neil Pionk, though, he won't be able to shut down McDavid in those 2 Oilers games.
Oh, whatever. It's Connor McDavid's the only reason why the Oilers can even get a goal at this point. Otherwise, he's so good.
So good.
but no one else on his team can do anything. Yeah, what was that? Connor McDavid put up 5 points against Columbus, and the rest of his team has to sit around and wonder, oh, man, that guy's working real hard. They're sitting around like a bunch of union workers. Well, we got one guy working his ass off. We don't need to do dick all.
Oh, that got there was some hatred in that that little rant there.
They stole so many years and so many nights away from me. All to watch McDavid do it all by himself. All right, boys. Where can we find you out in the real world if we want to, or I guess follow you on social medias at least?
You can find me at ray.howe or Brad Lambert is him. You can follow either. And yeah, just let me know and just kind of have a discussion whenever.
Yeah, for me, Sam Brownell Radio on Instagram, SBrownell12 on Twitter, and 730ckdm.com.
Excellent. Make sure to check out jetsnation.ca. Go check out our good friends at PointsBet. Yes. Betway, my bad. Oh, I'm bad at this. Go check out Betway.
You're gonna need to edit this one. That was rough.
Was bad.
That was really bad.
That was awful. Go check out Betway. You should subscribe to this channel. You should also subscribe to Jets Nation Radio on YouTube and give us a follow on whatever social media you've got. And follow me, Angus Hout, on Instagram and Twitter as well. You guys have a great week. We'll talk to you again next Sunday. Hopefully we're in a lot better mood by then. Go Jets, go. And peace.